Good afternoon, I am Christine Macy Roque, and my groupmates are Jennifer P. Ariola and Jenna Lalini Asherto. We are the reporters for Chapter 4 Policy Strategy and Goal Development. Kailangan na bumuo ng mission and vision sa isang business or organization. Kunwari, yung isang leader nila is na-clear na yung mga employee about dun sa direction. After nun, pwede na silang gumawa ng mission and vision upang makatulong sa kanila sa kung ano yung dapat na ibigay na tungkulin or responsibility sa mga employee nila. And yung iba, yung ibig sabihin pala ng mission is yung pagbibigay ng layunin sa isang samahan, and yung mission is dapat na dokumentado lahat, dapat na pagkakasunduan ng mga employee at yung mga namumuno sa samahan na yon or yung namamahala sa isang organization. Kailangan na ma-verify din nila yung napagkasunduan na hindi higit na 4 na pangungusap daw, halimbawa yung mission na ipinahayag nila. Dapat na naiintindihan daw yon at naipaparating na maayos at dapat kapani-paniwala at nagagamit talaga. Ito yung vision framework ng isang organization. Policy, strategy, and goal development. Integrating TQM into the policy and strategy. One thing that all writers on strategy agree is that the leader of any organization need a clear sense of direction and purpose, which they must communicate effectively throughout the organization. A clear message from the previous chapter on leadership for this happen, the vision and mission, and their deployment must be based on the needs and expectation of the organization's stakeholders, present and future, and the throughout examination of environment in which the organization exists. The challenge for the management is how to ensure the gap doesn't appear between the chosen direction for the organization and the day-to-day operation. Yung isang bagay daw na pinagkasunduan ng lahat ng mga manunulat ay yung mga namumuno sa anumang organisasyon na nangangailangan ng isang malinaw na kahulugan ng direksyon at layunin. Dapat sila na makipag-usap din sa buong samahan upang mas maging epektibo daw yung takbo ng isang organisasyon. Siyempre, kailangan din nila na alamin kung ano yung ginagawa ng mga previous na namumuno para meron din silang idea sa pamumuno ngayon. Upang mangyari daw ito, kailangan yung mission and vision ng isang organization at yung ide-deploy daw nila na isang employee, kailangan na nababatay at yung inaasahan talaga ng organization stakeholder or yung present or future na namumuno sa isang organization. And yung nagiging challenge naman daw sa mga namumuno ng organisasyon is yung sinisigurado daw nila na yung napili daw nila na samahan maayos, kasi araw-araw nila yun na makakasama sa pagpatakbo ng organization. The mission statement is an expression of the aspiration of the organization. Sabi dito, yung pagpapahayag daw ng mithiin ng samahan yon. And the touchstone against which all proposed action can be judged. Ang touchstone daw ay na kung saan yung lahat daw ng mga aksyon o yung mga minumungkahing pagkilos ay maaari daw na hatulan. Usually long term, dapat daw pang matagalan. And short term if the mission is survival. Kung yung mission daw ay kakayanin ba na pang matagalan or short term. Ganun. Tapos yung typical content includes a statement of the role of contribution of the business or unit. For example, profit generator, service department, opportunity seeker. Yun daw, ang tungkulin daw or yung contribution ng negosyo or organization yon. Yun nga daw, yung for example doon, yung tubo ba ng tubo yung isang organization, yung service department daw ba is maayos, and yung opportunity seeker. Tapos, the definition of the business, for example, the need you satisfy of the benefits you provide do not be too specific or too general. Sabi dito, yung kahulugan daw ng negosyo, halimbawa, yung pangangailangan daw na nasiyahan daw ba sa mga benepisyong ibinibigay mo, yung isang customer. Your distinctive competence, you should be a brief statement that applies to only your specific unit. A statement which could apply equally to any organization is unsatisfactory. Ito daw yung kailangan mo ng isang maikling pahayag na mai-apply ng pantay sa anumang samahan. Your distinctive competence. This should be a brief statement that applies to only your specific unit. The statement, which could apply equally to any organization, indication for future direction. A brief statement of the principal things you would give serious consideration to. Ito naman daw, yung kailangan mo rin syempre bigyan ng consideration ang iyong mga employee. Some points that may be asked of a mission statement. Define the organization's role. Contains the need to be fulfilled. Is it worthwhile or admirable? Will employee identify with it? How will it be viewed externally? Take a long-term view leading to, for example, commitment to a new product or service development or training of personnel. Take into account all the stakeholders of the organization. Ensure the purpose remain constant despite changes into management, in top management. Step 2. Develop the mission into its critical success factor or yung CSF to coerce and move it forward. The development of the mission is clearly not to end up to ensure its implementation. This is the danger gap which many organizations fall into because they don't not foster the skills needed to translate the mission through its CSF into the core process and people needs. Hence, they have goals without methods, and change is not integrated properly into the business. The CSF may now be defined what the organization must accomplish to achieve the mission by examination and categorization of the impacts. This should lead to be balanced set of the deliverables for the organization in terms of financial and non-financial performance, customer or market satisfaction, people or internal organization satisfaction, environmental or societal satisfaction. So, sabi dito naman sa step 2, yung CSF daw ay yung ibig sabihin na ang pag-unlad ng misyon ay malinaw na hindi sapat daw upang matiyak yung pagpapatupad nito. Kumbaga, yung nagiging panganib daw ito sa maraming organization. Ginagamit daw nila yung nakasanayan ng misyon sa pamamagitan ng CSF. Na parang meron na na parang meron silang layunin na wala naman daw pamamaraan or yung pagbabago sa isang negosyo or organization. Examples of CSF may clarify their understanding. We have right first time suppliers. Dapat meron na suppliers yung isang business. We have motivated skilled workers. Dapat na minomotivate din daw natin yung mga skilled workers natin. We need new product that satisfied market needs. Dapat na meron daw tayo mga produkto or services na makapagpapasaya sa mga pangangailangan ng business market or customer. We need new business opportunities. Kailangan din daw ng mga bagong oportunidad sa negosyo. We have best in field product quality. Dapat ay meron din daw tayong pinakamahusay na kalidad ng produkto. Step 3. Define the key performance indicator as being the quantifiable indicators of success in terms of the mission and CSF. The mission and CSF provides the what of the organization, but they must be supported by measurable key performance indicators or KPI that are tightly and inarguably linked. Each CSF should have an owner who is a member of the management team that agreed the mission and CSF. The task of an owner is to define and agree the KPI and associated target, ensure that appropriate data is collected and recorded. Mga CSF is yung mga sumusuporta daw sa mga key performance indicator. Ang bawat CSF ay dapat magkaroon daw ng isang may-ari ng miyembro ng pangkat ng pamamahala na sumasang-ayon daw sa misyon ng mga CSF. Ang gawain ng isang may-ari daw ay upang tukuyin at sumang-ayon sa mga KPI at nauugnay na target, tiyakin daw na naaangkop na data na nakolekta at naitala. Understand the core processes and gain process sponsorship. This is point when the top management team I have to consider how the institutionalize the mission in the form of processes that will continue to be in place until major changes are required. Ito yung punto kung dapat daw ba na isaalang-alang ng employee sa pamamahala kung paano yung gawin yung institusyon, yung mission sa proseso na magpapatuloy daw ba na mailagay sa tama hanggang sa kinakailangan na rin daw ng malaking pagbabago dito. Task of sponsor. The task of sponsor is to ensure the appropriate resources are made available to map, investigate, and improve the process. Kailangan na nakikita daw sa mapa or yung sinisiyasat daw at pinoproseso daw ng mabuti. Sila daw yung gumagawa nun. And assist in selecting the process improvement team leaders, and members. Tumulong daw sa pagpili ng proseso na pinakamahusay na pwede daw na mamuno dito sa organization nito at yung mga kasapi rin daw nito. And yung dalawa dito is makikita natin sa report ni Jenny.
Good day everyone, my name is Jennifer P. Ariola and here's my report. Step 4, understand the core processes and gain process sponsorship. So continuation lang po ito nung naunang reporter. So ayan, task of a sponsor. First is to remove blocks to the team progress. In continuation with the task of a sponsor, it is their job to remove blocks to the team progress. So what does it mean? Ibig lang sabihin, whatever distraction namang pwedeng mag-occur sa team should be blocked by the sponsor. Kumbaga, sila yung magpe-prevent na maantalay hindi maantala yung pag-work ng team towards a certain goal. Sila yung responsible to maintain the flow on the right path. So second is to report progress to the seniors. Well, in every team, it is important to always have an update. And yung role na yun ay ibinibigay para sa mga sponsors. They are the responsible ones to update the higher ups. Kung saan, sa pamamagitan na yon, ng pag-update na yon, yung mga senior could create a possible cure if ever mayroong aberya during the process. If ever naman wala, para lang siguro mabigyan lang ng credit yung team for a good work. Three, produce a set of processes of a common order of magnitude. Ano ba yan? Sabi dyan daw yung first step, yung sa first step in understanding the core processes, ibig lang yan sabihin as kailangan daw may mag-construct or magbigay ng step or processes with a common denominator. Ibig sabihin, may isang path na sinusundan or kumbaga, may sense of bridge for the each processes. So, bakit may nakalagay dyan na note? Sabi dyan, some smaller processes identify may combine into core processes. Others may be already the appropriate level. Ibig sabihin, may mga existent na processes na hindi naman masyadong mahalaga or pinapansin as a big part lang work. Sabi sa maliliit, pero sabi nga sa maliliit na yon, pag pinagsama-sama mo is magkakaroon or may mabubuong magandang resulta. At sabi diyan, may mga processes na sakto na or nasa tamang level na kung saan ready to imply na siya. So, yung mga sinabi ko kanina, sabi lang, this will ensure that the change becomes entrenched. So, ibig sabihin, kapag raw nagawa na yung mga processes na yun, there is a resistance to change. Ibig sabihin, wala nang butas na magbago. Kasi firmly established na siya. And mahihirapan na may baguhin pa. Sabi din dyan, the right people are in the place. So, the sponsor to take responsibility for them. So sabi, may mga nagmamanage na may magsusurvise na, so meaning ready for operation na siya. Sa madaling salita, this will be the start getting the processes, team, or organization up and running. The question will now think and fast. The process currently carried out by whom, when, how frequently, with what performance, and how will compare with competitors. Like any other task, a progress will always not be complete without proper supervision, distribution of the task and maintain. Sa ibig sabihin, hindi nangyayari sa basta plano lang. Kung nakapagplano na, dapat alam mo kung sino yung pinaka-fit mag-work for a certain task. Dapat alam mo rin kung paano ma-maintain yung smooth ng flow ng process each teams. So, di ba kailangan nga may mga maintain dito. So, dito papasok yung slide na to. Wherein a process sponsor a form a process team. Kung saan, yung team na yon yung mag-i-improve ng quality and performance. They can also provide another way to make the process better than usual. They can generate another solution. Kumbaga, kung dati letters ang form ng communication, ngayon email na. Yung pag-iisip ng new ideas, process, sponsor, and ang responsible doon, they make the process into the next step or level. So next is the process performance measures. It is necessary at this stage to enable effort to be focused on the key areas for improvement. Sa madaling salita, ito yung evaluation na tinatawag. So bakit mo kailangan may evaluation? So, sabi nga kanina, para malaman yung weakness ng performance. Pero sa totoong buhay, it is to identify its strength and weakness. Nakapokus lang sa weakness kasi ito'y nangangailangan ng improvement. Wherein kailangan may revision na gawin, kailangan ibahin yung strategy to see the immediate change with the result. So, yung impact matrix analysis na to, yung sample ng material or evaluation form na ginagamit para ma-identify yung weakness and processes. So, dyan naka-indicate kung paano ginigradean yung mga processes wherein may naka-level or naka-ranking na ginagamit. Sample is yung A to E ranking. Ayan yung sample form na kung paano mag-access ng process. Step 5, it states that you need to break down the core processes into sub-processes, activities, and tasks, and form improvement teams around this. Paano yon? Let's proceed to the next slide. So, sabi nga, once an organization has defined and mapped out the high-level core processes, kailangan naman malaman kung ano yung mga activities na kailangan gawin with the processes and kung paano mako-comprise with the operational level. So, diyan papasok yung top-down approach wherein it is needed to ensure that the day-to-day activities of organization are aligned with the critical to achieving strategic success. Sinasabi lang ang top-down approach from a core processes, hinimay-himay yan into pieces. Sa madaling salita, yung main idea papalawakin at i-distribute per team para mas mabilis yung paggalaw ng process. So, ayan, may note ulit dyan. If ever executed, this will develop the skills needed to understand how the new process structure will be analyzed and made to work. Kung magagawa raw ng tamang top-down approach, madidevelop yung capability na isang process to work wherein magbubukas yung opportunity na magkaroon ng better understanding at makapag-develop ng new matrix in measuring the quality of performance, kung saan magbibigay ulit ng new idea kung saan mag-identify where to improve and where to maintain. Breakdown. So, yan yung sample ng breakdown ng core processes into sub-processes, activities, and tasks. So, ayan, nakikita nyo yung analogy na paghihimay-himay from a big idea, hinimay-himay per team. Makita rin dyan yung team na yan na may sub-teams din na pumapaloob kung saan hinihimay-himay rin kung paano i-operate yung certain process. So, makita mo talaga na talaga na sinasala at dumadaan sa tamang proseso bawat step na gagawin. Performance measurement and metrics. It should be possible to develop metrics for measuring the performance of the processes, sub-processes, activities, and tasks. The main point in here is that metrics should be developed and used to reflect the true performance of the processes, sub-processes, activities, and tasks. Sabi lang dyan, evaluate so that will you know the kung magiging effective ba yung processes mo na ginawa. Nakapaloob dyan yung internal and external good contact mo from the customer. The metrics may be quoted as ratios of or numbers of customers derive by per number of brochure mailed out. So sabi lang dyan, ang metrics daw ay represent by numbers or ratios na feedback from the sample customers, wherein nire-require ang good data collection, record keeping, and analysis. Kasi isipin mo kung mali yung pagko-collect mo ng data from the feedback, mali rin yung magiging assessment mo from the effectiveness of your team. Hindi ma-determine kung naging strong ba yung naging step na yon sa pag-reach out sa kanila or hindi. Pag mali ang data collected, it will result to failure. The change pattern of coordination driven by the processes map should be increased collaboration and information sharing. Sa madaling salita, kapag na-identify mo na yung weakness, kailangan mo na ngayon gumawa ng step to improve. Paano? Well, the manager and the middle managers need to provide the right support. Diyan napapasok yung mga training and seminar na kinakandak ng employees to improve their capabilities, to ensure na laging reminded. Yung team sa goal nilang kailangan i-refresh ulit para yung ma-straight yung curve path na nakita din sa evaluation. Kumbaga, para matakpan yung nakitang butas, kailangan may improvement para ma-develop yung skills nila. So, ayan, step 6 na tayo. Sa step 6, sabi dyan, ensure processes and people alignment through a policy development or goal translation processes. Gusto lang i-highlight ng step na to, yung one of the key in integrating excellence into the business strategy is a formal goal translation or policy development. So, next slide. So, yan yung translation process. Sa process na yan, para kang batang magtatanong ano yon at paano yon. Kasi, ang goal ng translation process, it ensure that the what's are convert into how. Yung mga nakuha mong what or mga identify mong feedback will now give you ideas on how to deal with it. So, yung sinasabi ko kanina na your what turn into house, ito yung ma-achieve through quality function development or yung QFD. Ano ba yung quality function development? Is a structure method that use the 7 management and the planning tools to identify and prioritize customer expectation quickly and effectively. Sa method na to, yung quality na is the measurement of the customer satisfaction doon sa product or sa service na ina-offer, meaning when you are dealing with determining what to accomplish para ma-meet yung satisfaction ng customer, ito yung kailangan mong gamitin kasi it's focus on hearing the voice of the customer, kapag alam mo na kung alam mo na ngayon kung paano mo sila i-approach, then you can effectively respond to their needs and expectation. So, ayan yung sample ng table kung paano ginawa yung quality function development. Makikita mo yung makikita yung feedback ng customer dun sa what, and then sa mga proposed solutions sa how. Yun lang po yung report ko. Thank you.
Good morning, everyone. My name is Jenna Danin Asherto. I am the last reporter of Chapter 2. My topic is about strategic and operational planning factors. Now, let's proceed. Letter A, identifying strategic issues to be considered by the senior management team. It means growing a business can pose some considerable personal challenges to the owner or manager, whose role can change dramatically as the business grows. Effective strategic planning involves considering options that challenge the way that business has been done up to this point. It may be that decision making in some areas will be handed to others, or the processes which have worked well in the past will no longer fit with future plans. And also, it can be tempting for owners or managers to overlook alternatives that are uncomfortable for them personally. But to disregard your options on these grounds can seriously compromise your strategic plan and ultimately the growth of your business. Letter B, balancing the present needs of the business against the vital needs of the future. My explanation about this is balancing investment for the future with the needs of sustaining success in your current business model and markets can often seem like a mutually exclusive proposition, particularly when the transformations required to deploy feature-enabling capabilities, technology, and system can be so disruptive to everyday business. How does one plan for future economic viability while sustaining current economic viability? It is dilemma so trenchant that we recently conducted a major study to see how industrial companies were cracking the code of this balancing act of a business. Letter C, concentrating finite resources on important things. It means for many firms, concentration strategies are sensible. These strategies involve trying to compete successfully with only a single industry, like McDonald's, Starbucks, and Subway are three firms that have relied heavily on concentration strategies to become dominant players. Within concentration, strategies to become dominant players have market penetration, market development, and product development. Interestingly, a firm can use one, two, or aspects of all three strategies in its effort to excel within an industry. And the last one of strategic and operational planning factors, we have providing awareness of impending changes in the business environment in order to adapt more rapidly and more appropriately. It means change readiness is the ability to continuously initiate or respond to change in ways that create advantage, minimize risk, and sustain performance. The age-old challenge, balancing the tension between the internal and external focus required to do all three equally. This continuous and integrated approach to change requires the coordinated participation of everyone in the company, not just a few change agents or change leaders. The next one is strategic planning. It is the continuous process by which any organization will describe its destination, assess barriers standing in the way of reaching that destination, and select approaches for dealing with those barriers and moving forward. For me, the purpose of strategic planning is to analyze our business and realistic goals and objectives. This leads to the creation of formal document that lays out the company's views to goals for the future. Like for example, if you are the one of the owner of a small business and I haven't been focusing on a long-term business planning process, it's not too late to think differently. Your future success depends on effective organizational strategic planning. The discussions that result can lead to meaningful change in your business. The next is strategic and operational process. Number one, provide the senior management team with the means to manage the organization strengths and weaknesses through the change process. Next, allow the senior management team members to have clear understanding and to achieve agreement on the strategic direction, including vision and mission. Identify and document those factors critical to success in achieving the strategic direction and the means by which success will be measured and targeted. Identify and document and encourage ownership of the core processes that drive the business. The last one, reach agreement on the priority processes for action by process improvement teams, incorporating current initiatives into an overall cohesive framework. So this strategic and operational process defined as the strengths and dynamic of your team directly affect business outcomes. Consider your business strictly in terms of its end goal. Are you trying to sell a product, provide a service? For a moment, don't think about relationships. As you think about your goal, you should consider all business components that directly affect it. Now, reintroduce the relationship, your people matter, and the way your teams work together matters to the business goals of your organization. The next is customer and market. Customer can include data collected, analyzed, and understood in terms of where the organization will operate. Customers' need and expectations understood now and in the future. Developments anticipated and understood, including those of competitors and therefore performance. The organization's performance in the marketplace known, benchmarking against best-in-class organization. So for me, customer and market, customer and market is a person or company that receives, consumes, or buy a product or service and can choose between different goods and suppliers. The main goal of all commercial enterprises is to attract customers, or clients and make them purchase what they have on sale. They also to encourage them to keep coming back to the product. Remember, without customer, you don't see any sales in your company. As a result, they are a critical factor when developing your marketing, messaging, and strategy. Next is shareholders and major stakeholders. Shareholders or major stakeholders' needs and ideas understood. Appropriate economic trends or indicators and their impact analyzed and understood. Policies and strategies appropriate to shareholder or stakeholder needs and expectations and develop. Needs and expectation balance and various scenarios and plans to manage risk develop. So the different shareholder and shareholder can sell their stock and buy different stock. They do not have a long-term need for the company. Stakeholders, however, are brand to the company for a longer term and for reasons of greater need. For example na lang po, if a company is performing poorly financially, the vendors in that company's supply chain suffer if the company no longer uses their services. Similarly, employees of the company who are stakeholders and rely on it for income might lose their jobs. Next, we have people. People includes the needs and expectations of the employees understood, data collected, analyzed, and understood in terms of the internal performance of the organization, output from learning activities understood, everyone appropriately informed about the policies and strategies, and last, everyone appropriately trained and developed to provide the required competencies and skills the organization needs to deliver the policies and strategies. My explanation about that, data can be collected and analyzed on a short term or project basis in response to the situations or needs that arise from that time to time. A short-term data collection project would include the start and a finish date of a company with set deliverables to be carried out of a certain period of time. It is to analyze the data as often is needed to identify threats and monitor barriers to protect persons or people based on the grounds. Next, processes. A key process framework to deliver the policies and strategies designed, key process owners identified, each key process and its major stakeholders defined, and key process framework reviewed periodically in terms of its suitability to deliver to organization's requirements. It means processes takes framework for producing document to make the relationship between the composed document clearer and clearer in a government. The policy is considered a step before the law for private organizations and businesses. It may include policies, the various contracts, and provide a record of businesses and practices. Partners or resources. Partners' resources includes appropriate technology understood, impact of new technologies analyzed, needs and expectation of partners understood, policies and strategies aligned with those of partners, financial strategies developed, appropriate buildings, equipment, and materials identified or sourced. So, ibig sabihin po dito, yung partners or resources is a appropriate technology or concept and a set of ideas or framework within which to think and act for a development of a society. The aim of the concept is to provide easy and a method for the choice of technology. It is a concept intimately connected with development, whereby the development is of people rather than things, although the development of goods and services is seen to be necessary. And the last topic is society. Society, legal and environmental issues understood, and environment and corporate social or CSR responsibility policies developed. Social and environmental issues involved in the setting and operations of waste in incineration facilities. This is the issues ever since, including possible social, economic, and psychological effects of incineration and how this might influence community interactions and estimates of health effects. Issues with respect to perceptions and values of local residents are also considered. The social, psychological, and economic impacts of incineration facilities on their locals are even less well documented and understood than the health effects of waste incineration. When environmental impact assessments are required for proposed federal or state actions, they typically must include socio-economic impact assessments, but are often sketchy are the best. That's all of all my reports. Thank you.